That creed, reaffirmed by those who planted flags from foreign battlefields to the surface of the moon. A creed at the core of every American whose story is not yet written. Yes, we can. Because of you. Because you sacrificed so much for a people that you had never met. That's part of what makes us special as Americans.
I love Metal Gear Solid. I love politics. I love making fun of assholes. So, if you haven't subscribed to Ammon Animations yet, I don't know what the hell to tell you. Check out the link in the chat here. Subscribe, like, and subscribe right away. These are literally these are undescribably good.
Unlike the old empires, we don't make these sacrifices for territory or for resources. We do it because it's right.
My father came to this country from Poland at the age of 17 without a nickel in his pocket, which sparked my interest in the need for immigration reform because I know what it's like to be the son of an immigrant. We grew up in a 3.5-room rent-controlled apartment in Brooklyn, New York. My mother's dream, and she died very young, but my mother's dream for her whole life was to be able to get out of that rent-controlled apartment and own a home of her own. She never lived to see that.
Then let us give hope to people in America today who have lost hope. Let us provide jobs for the jobless, housing for the homeless, food for the hungry.
You have a handful of people who control our economy, and they determine the destiny of our entire country.
I wish I could give you better news, but I think you know the truth. And that is that we are now some 300 delegates behind Vice President Biden, and the path toward victory is virtually impossible. And so today, I am announcing the suspension of my campaign.
Keep moving.
People who kept us safe today operated it's just huge. I also want to thank the town of Van Horn. This is fun.
Don't
stop. You know, we're making a dent in it.
Don't stop. Keep moving.
For allowing us to be part of your team. And then
Yeah, you're welcome,
I just
Jeff.
want to thank every Amazon employer and every Amazon customer, because you guys paid for all of this. So, seriously, for every Amazon customer out there and every Amazon employee, thank you from the bottom of my heart very much. It's very appreciated.
I didn't pay for this.
Minasan, おめでとうございます。お食事を楽しみください。余額の財布保持金のこと、いつ的な財金の支払わないことで、私たちは富をもともし寸前の低いものからもとも高いものへと効果的に分配してます。そして私たちのポケットの中に両方の当事者からよって。私たちは労働者を犠牲にしたい連載の愛で神になることができます。
Why is the man dancing? That's the most frightening element of this whole video. Why is he back there just rocking away? Why is everyone okay with this?
It's not just them. The whole world wants you dead. You'll have to join up with Piker. Build that movement of yours one more time.
Yeah, fucking right.
First we'll need to save him.
Yeah.
He's in Los Angeles.
Save him from who? himself.
You're a legend in the eyes of those who live in the working class. That's why you'll have to handle this mission yourself.
Please.
Hassan
Hassan Piker.
wanted.
What are you gonna do about it, Hassan? Dab on it?
Now go. Let the legend
Where
come
the
back
fuck
to
is
life.
Hassan when it comes to political change? Hanging out and just chatting, watching movies. Not even documentaries, the fucking Marvel movies. Waste of carbon. I really do need to play Metal Gear Solid 5. I'm just so disappointed. It ends open-ended. And there will never be a conclusion. Ever. Oh, they'll get another director to do another Metal Gear. But that won't be Metal Gear. We all know that shit won't be Metal Gear.
Paz, it's me.
Bernie, wake up from your weed nap, you fucking lazy idiot.
What the fuck took you this long, dude?
Danny and Gnome, save us. I love Noam Chomsky. Inheritor. Just nonchalantly walks through a wall.
You got 3 people owning more wealth than the bottom half of the American society. That is insane, and that has got to end.
A parasite that will sacrifice mankind. Oh, there's a good old Metal Gear Rex. It's not happening, guys. No, guys, it's find somebody new. No. Hassan is trash.
Some evil demon decided to take over the human species and drive them to self-destruction. And much of the world is trying to counter it.
These are the best. I'm gonna do just a quick DMCA pause just to fuck with the lawyer bots. 1 second. Go time. The auto-tune is the best. Just want to make sure everyone knows that Hassan sucks every time he's shown on screen. He's not cool. Hassan's not cool. It's not cool. It's not cool to be lame and lazy and pointless and take a bunch of money and not do shit with it. Yes, that's right. You need to do something for the progressive movement with your millions of dollars, Hassan. That's fucking right. I'm putting that on you, dude. I don't have millions of dollars, but if I did, I'd be out there. And you'd be sick of me. You'd be calling me up for an interview. Hey, you're that millionaire spending all that money. Why are you spending money? I like money. So fuck you, Hassan. Spend your money on the progressive movement. I said it. I said it. You should feel bad. Yeah. Spend just a little bit of that on the progressive movement. Not the tax deductible donations, dude. No. Help the progressive movement on the ground now. Today. Today. Yeah, I said it. Today. Destiny. He ain't helping the progressive movement. He laughs at us. He thinks it's real fucking funny that we're having, you know, all these problems. Pete Buttigieg. That's his political insight. What up, Ms. or Mac? Welcome back. We just got done watching an Amon Animations video. Now we're going to watch a Renegade Cut. Brilliant video. I watched it today. Yeah, just a couple minutes ago. You didn't miss much. Appreciate you always stopping in. I don't know how long you stick around, but you know, it's always nice to see a known face when you hit that start stream. So I do appreciate it. Your work is appreciated. So Kid Rock, I thought this was interesting because, you know, he breaks down the psychology of being a warrior for the man, for the authority. Like when you churn being a bootlicker into a punk symbol, what does that look like? What's the psychology behind that? How does that work on a philosophical level? Renegade Cut over here, brilliant breakdown of this. I think it's essential viewing because we know these people. These are the people in our lives that are inadvertently emulating Kid Rock. Kid Rock doesn't even know who he is or what he's accomplishing in terms of the fascistic movement. And the people that emulate Kid Rock, they don't know what they're doing. They think they're defending America. It's like hiring a fox to guard your hens. Why don't we get some fascists to protect democracy, huh? And they won't admit it until it's in crumbles and ashes. And even then, they'll do it only in whispers amongst themselves. They would never admit defeat ever. It is up to the adults in the room. Well, I mean, I'm not quite sure which side's defending who. They think they're defending America from, well, fill in the blank. Communist, Antifa, Joe Biden supporters, Stop the Stealer, you know, anti-Stop the Steal, Nancy Pelosi Democrats. Anybody, the other. That's all that matters. They are other. We are true Americans. They are the other.
The brand that I'm always smoking, but when a six pack in the trunk is cold, we gonna open up. Time for me to come again, ain't my nigga where you been? Probably on the track with Cracker Jack to make your fucking ends. You know how the story go. Spending money on a hoe. Niggas like myself don't give a fuck about them. Smoke one low, fire it up. Take a puff. Inhale, now you let it out. Now we gotta ride and find some bitches that'll set it out. To the pimp, on the cut, serving all them monkey nuts.
All right. All right, here we go.
An emancipatory movement is an effort or campaign to secure social rights, political rights, economic rights, or equality. A reactionary movement is an effort or campaign to reverse the results of an emancipatory movement and return society to its previous status quo. Although any political ideology can urge a return to a previous policy if the current policy is inadequate, reactionism is a specific tradition in right-wing politics, and emancipation is a specific tradition in left-wing politics.
They just let you do that,
Reactionism,
guys.
as the name suggests, is a response to either a successful
Banging on the shields,
emancipation or an ongoing emancipatory movement. Reactionaries engage in a counter-revolution against social change and social progress. For example, when a group that previously did not enjoy the same rights, privileges, or even recognition as the rest of society is finally granted those rights, privileges, and recognition, a reactionary movement can form to reverse their progress. A reactionary movement may also be opposed to the entirety of a new government following a revolution that gave new rights and privileges more broadly. Reactionary movements sometimes fail and sometimes succeed, but the success or failure of a reactionary movement is not exclusively binary. For example, the reactionary movement following the abolition of slavery in the United States certainly failed to reinstate chattel slavery, but still scored political victories that limited the rights of people of color and intimidated people of color into a de facto and sometimes de jure second-class citizenship. Though these definitions can sometimes be reductive, conservatism under most circumstances aims to maintain the status quo and resist emancipatory movements, whereas reactionism aims to essentially turn back the clock to an even more conservative society, a society before an emancipatory movement. Thus, reactionism is not separate from conservatism, but rather a specific movement within conservatism, with a conservative goal. A more right-wing, strictly hierarchical society based on whatever the reactionaries believe are traditional values or the way things ought to be. In the United States, as well as other Western nations, there are currently a series of emancipatory movements and a series of reactionary movements. The reactionary movements oppose, among other things, the recent interest in leftist politics among millennials and Zoomers, the recognition of transgender people, and police reform or abolition. These interrelated reactionary movements are controlled or
well, that's easy. You know, Tea Party, you know, they were the Tea Party. They were the before the Tea Party came along, there was like a big, you know, are you like a George Bush Republican? They were looking for the rhinos. I remember Ann Coulter writing a book about rhinos at that time. It's always, that's the thing about fascism, is it's always fill in the blank. It's whatever works, right? Whatever, you know, whatever gets your people going, right? Okay, is it, you know, is it the immigrants? Nah, they don't really. Okay, no, it's not the immigrants, but it's these Antifa and ooh, the woke mob. Yeah, you know, and, I get them riled up. Okay, that's your enemy. Look over there, right? I mean, no one truly fits their characterizations, because their characterizations are made in an ambiguous way intentionally. Anyway, back to what he's saying.
Urged by right-wing politicians, but are able to be mobilized by ordinary citizens. This is a serious topic and admittedly can be quite dry, as well as difficult to visualize because it happens partially through a form of social inertia instead of a conspiracy of the few. To better visualize this, an avatar of reactionism might be helpful in better understanding the beliefs, goals, attitudes, and rhetoric of a reactionary movement. And you probably know his name.
My name is
Jesus Christ.
Regrets. I love how he starts off with the regrets. Yeah, Mr. Mac. You know, I've heard some studies, you know, their, you know, brain scans of conservatives look different. I'm not willing to buy anything when it comes to any of that shit until I see an equal economic opportunity for the people that are predominantly voting right wing. Okay. Their economic situation is so bad that all you need to do is go in there and whisper a couple little sweet little white lies, and you got their vote sealed up for life. Okay? For life. You don't have to do a goddamn thing about abortion. It's interesting that Republicans are actually finally slam dunking and killing abortion, because that is such a valuable political tool. I bet Mitch McConnell somewhere is like, we really shouldn't, you know, kill abortion, guys. It's a really effective political wedge.
that's such an effective political wedge. I used it for 30 years in my career, and now it's just going to be gone because we won. We're going to have to create a whole new boogeyman. Boogeyman.
Christ, is this what I'm doing this week? Okay. In his book, The Reactionary Mind, Conservatism from Edmund Burke to Donald Trump, Professor Corey Robin described conservatism as the felt experience of having power, seeing it threatened, and trying to win it back. Conservatives in the midst of a reactionary movement see an egalitarian emancipatory movement as a threat to themselves or the values that have come to define their worldview. Don't Tell Me How to Live will not be denounced as offensive here, no matter how much the musician believes everyone but himself is offended all the time.
Well, not every time. Not every time. Then why did Bernie get a standing ovation on Fox News when he gave him his boilerplate socialist rundown of all the different services that he wants to give them? You know. You know. It's just not that simple, Ms. Ormack. It is a incredibly complex myriad of factors that is creating this, 30% of the voting populace that, will no matter what, fucking Donald Trump gets caught raping a child on video in Minecraft. Oh, that's right. I heard that's actually a bad thing to say because the algorithm catches it. Zexy had a good point about that. In the PlayStation 3 game Wall-E that I'm looking at on my shelf right now. So, and they would still, love Donald Trump. They think he's the greatest guy ever, right? It's much more than just like brain chemistry. That's too easy. That's too easy. I will admit though that some, like people, it looks like if you're a dumbass, you tend to lean conservative. It's, and in the good old saying, when it comes to a racist, like, well, not every racist is a conservative, but I've never met, not every conservative is a racist, but I've never met a racist that wasn't a conservative. And so far that's soul destroyingly true in my life, in my small little blink of an eye amount of time that I've spent on this planet. That's been my observation. I even saw anti-Vaders go against Trump because they said he's pro-vaccine and that he's controlled opposition. These people can't be labeled as just conservative. There's more to them. Well, they're desperate for a voice. Their misunderstanding of the world around them, intentional or otherwise, requires an icon, requires a symbol, and that's what Trump is to them. Up until Trump, the Romneys, the Bushes, they were good enough, but not great, but good enough, better than the hedonistic, Democrats who, I guess at the time, they wouldn't call them baby blood drinking. They would just call them abortion supporting, homosexual supporting, anti-God. That's the kind of shit they used to sling at us until they went real Looney Tunes. So, but the fact remains is that populism works with them. And I'm curious to see how many we can get with just a simple progressive populist message. Just say, hey, look, I'm actually not after your guns per se. I am for an assault weapons ban, but I'm not after everything, on principle. But when because if I was a politician in the South, I'd be real careful if I was a progressive about guns, and I might even just straight up lie about an assault weapons ban. I'd be like, yeah, we'll bring that up the next campaign. I'd be like, nope, I don't want no assault weapons ban. And back in my head, I'll be like, oh yeah, I do, bitch. Unlike Beto, because like it's working out real great for Beto O'Rourke, isn't it? Being Mr. Honest Johnny about his support for an assault weapons ban. It makes perfect sense to me, and it's the only thing I give him credit for. Literally the only thing. But there you go. That's the one thing he decides to have a principled stance on, is with the fucking guns in Texas. Yeah, good luck, buddy. Good luck, buddy. But basically what I would say in terms of a progressive message I would give them is like, I want to give you health care. I want to give you higher wages from your job. You know, I want to give you and your kids a college education that is, you know, best in the world. I don't care where you're from. I want to give you, the lowest class, the middle class, and the lower class, massive tax breaks. You know, while I raise the taxes on your boss. That's the kind of progressive populist message that can easily get a bunch of conservative votes. How many? I don't know. You know, but that's all Bernie had to do on Fox News, was give him that boilerplate bullshit that he literally repeated 300 times while eating corn dogs across this nation, and got a standing ovation. So it tells you something. Anyway, back to this.
The song is, instead, telling about what makes conservatives feel threatened and defensive.
Real quick, throughout this whole video, all these clips of Kid Rock, can we talk about how fucking stiff and like an old man? It's like old man Rivers up there doing the hip hop dance. Anyway, I'm gonna be old one day too. I'm gonna completely acknowledge that, and it's not like my moves are any smoother. But I just wanted to point that out. It's like, you know, calm it down, dude. You're not 19 anymore.
And how they hope to portray that threat. Kid Rock makes several references that combine to form the thesis of the song. The United States is becoming soft, sensitive, feminine, and modern, and the nation should return to a time in an imagined past in which the nation was strong, insensitive, masculine, and traditional. The thesis is summarized like this.
I'm gonna drink some soy.
It would appear that the devil without a cause has finally discovered his cause, reactionism. There is a common assertion in conservative circles that those who point out racism, sexism, homophobia, transphobia, and other forms of bigotry are merely too sensitive, that recognizing either social or economic inequality is simply being offended. This framing of emancipatory movements as emotional, unreasonable, or offended benefits the conservative position because it dismisses their demands outright. The details of their demands need not even be acknowledged because to conservatives, nobody is oppressed, only offended. This tactic is deceptive and ignorant, but highly effective. Conservatives often go with their gut to inform their politics, and consequently assume that anyone to their left is moved exclusively
just
through
the poor goddamn interns that got to work with them.
Conservatives simply believe that their instincts are strong and correct, whereas other instincts are weak and incorrect. This is highlighted by Kid Rock's use of the infamous meme of a woman, Jessica Starr, crying at the Donald Trump inauguration in 2017. Conservatives love this image because it reinforces their belief about their instincts.
I've said,
they share the image.
I'm really glad he's saying this because I've said similar things about this, that I'm still with this chick or whoever she is, however she identifies. I'm still 100% on board for how she reacted and totally agree with her and defend her. Right? It's exactly, she looks, the way she was reacting was exactly how I was feeling and how millions of us were feeling. And what she said was actually quite poignant. So I will defend this woman or whoever she identifies, and I apologize if I get it wrong, until the day I die, man. Because she's true. She's true. True, like she was crying for America, dude. Was she wrong?
But almost never share her actual words that day. So here they are. I'm so sorry. I love people. This is not America. This is not what we want. There's no way to even comprehend what this means. Jessica Starr was not simply offended. She was concerned about the ramifications of a Trump presidency.
I totally
the
agree
rise
with
of
that.
far-right groups.
There's no way to
emboldened
even
by his
comprehend
election,
what this
and
means.
the incompetence that he had displayed even before becoming president. She was concerned about a potentially catastrophic 4 years that many people would not survive. She was right to be deeply concerned, and everyone who said that people were overreacting to the potential danger was wrong. If the problem you have with her is how she expressed this concern, if your problem is with her tears, then maybe look inside yourself and determine why that is. Kid Rock repeats the purposefully deceptive conservative talking point that people are offended by opinions. This happens all the time in social media political
it's just
discourse.
my opinion.
Someone says something objectionable or proposes a dangerous policy,
impersonation of a
and
black
when
person is
someone
shit.
disagrees, that person says, "Oh, you're mad that I have an opinion, huh?"
Good one.
Of course, nobody is objecting to the existence of opinions or the right to have an opinion. They are disagreeing with the content of that particular opinion.
No.
Having an opinion does not make that opinion sacrosanct
Oh my
or
God,
immune
so
to
loud.
criticism. This deceptive rhetoric is similar to invoking the First Amendment of the United States Constitution
There we
when
go.
someone disagrees with an opinion. The constitutional right is not in question, only the content of the opinion. Unsurprisingly, Kid Rock makes this very argument in his song. Immediately following another line about people being offended, he says,
But this amendment one, it rings true. And if you don't dissent, to see number 2.
Okay, nothing like a just a joke incitement of political violence in the
You
year
gonna shoot me,
2021.
Kid Rock?
Kid Rock's t-shirt reads, "Social media sucks." But
Fucking
nearly
grandpa.
every dated 2017 conservative talking point used in this 2021 song was popularized on social media. Snowflakes, participation trophies, that meme. Without Twitter and Facebook misinformation, Kid Rock's god hero Donald Trump may have never been president of the United States. What Kid Rock is almost certainly alluding to is the myth in conservative circles that social media tends to favor liberal politics or leftist politics, and that social media more routinely censors conservative voices. Conservatives attempt to prove this using anecdotal data, but a wider data set and greater research shows something else altogether. Research from NYU and other institutions have proven that right-wing voices and institutions actually dominate social media by nearly every metric, and that policies on content moderation are made by a combination of foreign contractors and executives who see the political right as their biggest pool of customers, and are therefore committed to appease them, not censor them. Conservatives instead use particular instances of a conservative politician or public figure being banned to prove a pattern that does not exist.
I still don't support Twitter bans, by the way. Permanent ones, at least.
most notable example they use is Donald Trump himself. However, Trump was not banned from Twitter and Facebook for being a conservative. He was banned for extremely serious violations and for using their platforms to incite violence. And it only seemed to happen because the employees had finally had enough and spoke to management. Too little too late, quite frankly. Twitter bans are not always judicious or correct, but the common...
I'm actually for regulating social media companies, identifying them as, as a social media company by the law, and, passing some transparency laws, giving them the ability to moderate and telling them they have to. I don't want a bunch of fucking beheadings everywhere. But yeah, codifying a lot of this shit in the law. That's what I would be doing, and that's what I advocate for as a progressive. I'm so sick and tired of this. Oh, let's just let let's just let them do it. Let them do whatever the fuck they want. No, I don't think so. No. What happened to lefties wanting laws and regulations and shit? We used to get made fun of because that's all we would talk about. Oh, here comes the technocrats. We never have anything but like Reaganism anymore. Anyway.
Denominator in political figures being banned or suspended is not party registration. It's terms of service violations. Conservatives do not see it that way, because when a conservative is banned for misinformation, their media propaganda has already told them ahead of time that the misinformation is actually true. Thus, it feels like their heroes are being censored for telling the truth
you
when they are
fucking right,
actually
dude.
being banned for violating
tax.
rules related to misinformation.
Big
The album
tax.
cover is a clone of a copy of every
this
political
idiot.
cartoon or t-shirt about the vague
Fucking Kid
concept
Rock.
of liberty. Based on the context of Kid Rock's adolescent complaints, the artist is equating wearing a mask with the loss of liberty. However, the exact same image could be used to promote wearing a mask as our patriotic duty to one another.
totally could.
From Kid Rock's perspective, the Statue of Liberty wearing a mask is a tragedy, but without the context of his conservative politics,
Was
the
it a
messaging of
tragedy
the
in
art
the
can
Spanish
more
flu,
easily be
Kid
interpreted
Rock?
as pro-mask, not
Did Kid Rock ever do a song about how much he hated the Spanish flu? Did he ever do a song about Japanese internment? Did he do any of that? No. No. These fucking clowns. When they cash in, dude, they cash in. God damn it.
not anti-mask. Remember, a reactionary movement is a counter-revolution, a movement with the aesthetic of revolution, but with a different objective. Kid Rock knows how to co-opt an aesthetic that is not his own. His entire career is based on the image of being a trailer park, blue-collar, salt-of-the-earth musician who came from nothing and speaks for the masses. Kid Rock, real name Robert James Ritchie, was raised by a wealthy family in a 5,660 square foot house with 5 bedrooms and 7 bathrooms. The property is on a 5-acre lot with a tennis court, swimming pool, and apple orchard. He is also not from Detroit, as his affluent neighborhood is approximately 40 miles away. Kid Rock supported Mitt Romney in 2012 and Donald Trump in 2016 and 2020, and he
Real
has admitted
visionary.
that he has done this primarily
Real punk rock, dude.
to protect his money. Kid Rock is an absolute phony delivering a phony message, using the aesthetic of the people and the aesthetic of revolution to paradoxically protect the status quo. Kid Rock is raging, but he is not raging against the machine. He is raging in favor of the machine. If there is still any doubt that Don't Tell Me How to Live is both conservative and reactionary, this next line should resolve that.
These minions and their agendas, every opinion has a millennial offended.
Here, Kid Rock connects offense to a generation. Now, we recognize that his usage of offense is a reductive reference to the demands of modern emancipatory movements, and he casts millennials as the movers of this emancipation. Thus, the conflict becomes
I had no idea it
generational.
was so powerful,
If
kid.
the conflict is between generations, and Kid Rock has sided with the values of an older generation, then his unavoidable conclusion is that we must return to older values. And that is why the song is reactionary. Kid Rock's defenders might claim that the musician is not familiar enough with political theory to express a political belief,
Oh,
a
come
defense
on.
that places his ignorance on a pedestal
He's
and
done his
employs
reading.
the idiot defense in legal strategy. However, conservatives do not have to be professors of political science in order to have conservative beliefs.
Oh.
Lionel Trilling once wrote, "It is the plain fact that nowadays there are no conservative or reactionary ideas in general circulation."
Interesting.
This does not mean, of course, that there is no impulse to conservatism or to reaction. Such impulses are certainly very strong, perhaps even stronger than most of us know. But the conservative impulse and the reactionary impulse do not, with some isolated and some ecclesiastical exceptions, express themselves in ideas, but only in action or in irritable mental gestures which seek to resemble ideas. In other words, Kid Rock's thesis is reactionary whether the musician is familiar with political theory or not. Let's stop listening to this ungodly track for one moment to dig a little deeper.
Oh,
What does the
why?
reactionary movement against the left
My
and
favorite
against
song.
modern emancipatory movements hope to accomplish? What are their goals? And why are their goals so important to them? The hierarchical mindset of conservatism casts freedom as a zero-sum game. If more people gain rights or even more consideration in society, conservatives conclude that their own freedom and status within society will be diminished.
Wow,
The
big
saying
victory,
goes,
guys.
when you're accustomed to privilege,
Get that sign.
equality feels like oppression. Conservatives would naturally object to this characterization of their ideology, but the history of conservatism is the history of resisting these rights and considerations, then forming reactionary movements when all else fails. Conservatives
I'm proud
obfuscate this
boy.
pattern by claiming that everyone already is treated fairly, and that those within the emancipatory movement are actually asking for special privileges rather than equality. This allows conservatives to reframe the demands of the emancipatory movements as unreasonable no matter how reasonable the demands actually are. For example, transgender people face harassment, discrimination, violence, and other challenges on the basis of being trans that cisgender people do not face on the basis of being cis.
It's true.
A movement to bring attention to this and provide more considerations for these challenges is opposed by conservatives and by ignorant liberals. Their claim is that
Listen to
trans
this
people are
fucking
already
Joe
treated
Rogan
well,
clip coming
thereby
up.
dismissing the emancipatory movement.
No one really. I mean, it doesn't seem to be. There's not a lot of overwhelming overt discrimination against people who are trans, like publicly, other than the sports thing.
In truth, transgender people face enormous legal challenges. There are
Good
still
one,
no
Joe.
comprehensive federal non-discrimination laws that include gender identity for various public places and for housing. Furthermore, state legislatures are not only
Thank you for
ignoring
the
the lack
follow.
of
You got yourself a
non-discrimination
check
laws,
squid
but
CD.
passing new discriminatory laws. State legislatures are passing more anti-trans
Didn't catch your
laws than
name.
ever before. In 2021 alone,
I got
7
you.
anti-trans sports bans have passed in Arkansas, Alabama, Tennessee, Mississippi, Montana, and West Virginia. 3 religious refusal bills have passed in Arkansas, Montana, and South Dakota. 2 anti-LGBT education bills have passed in Tennessee and Montana. An anti-trans health care ban passed in Arkansas. An anti-trans public bathroom bill passed in Tennessee. There is a lot more on the way, as more than 250 more bills have been introduced in state legislatures, and some of them are probably going to become law.
What?
In addition to legal
What does it
challenges,
happen to
trans
me
people face so
at the
much
Comedy
harassment
Store?
and have such a stigma tied to
I
who
don't
they
know.
are that finding employment and housing can sometimes be difficult. 27%
Get
of trans
that
people have
trash
been
outta
fired,
here.
not hired, or denied a promotion on the basis of being trans. This contributes to both a much higher poverty rate and much higher homelessness rate for trans people. Worse still, this is compounded by the fact that only 30% of women
I think it's funny, but I also, it's a temporary thing to prevent the spread of COVID, but we do need to talk about blah, 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 right? Because I believe my 2 QR code system could fix this so dummies like Rojo can walk around pretending like he's a fucking badass without his fucking COVID vaccine. Even though we all know Joe fucking Rogan went to a public school, so guess what, dumbass? You got fucking vaccines flowing through your veins, you fucking meathead. And why are you taking ivermectin? They explicitly say this shit don't work on COVID. So why are you taking it, huh? The other reason why you take ivermectin is for like fucking worms and shit. So either you got worms or you're a dumbass. Bring it, Joe Rogan. Fuck you. Medical segregation is wrong. This is a tough one because we're treading on authoritarian waters, but this is also a virus, and viruses don't give a fuck about your politics. They don't give a fuck about your liberties. So, as a lefty, guess what? We have to do nuance. The right wing doesn't have to do nuance. They fucking jerk it to fucking Crisco all day. They don't have to do shit with language. But that's our job. And we need to do it with a plum. We need to do it with a motherfucking chef's kiss. We got to have that policy ready to go. Yeah, no, we need to communicate, transparency, time limits, auditing of how this is done. Yeah, no, this is how we build policy. This is how a progressive organization would handle COVID, right? And we need to impress with that. We got to have that ready. It's called, having these manifestos, all this kind of shit, right? I don't see it yet. I don't even see it with that European organization either. It's a good start, but I hate that it's like it says European in the name. How is this supposed to be an international progressive organization? You got European in the name. Oh, anyway, coronavirus don't give a fuck about your human rights. It just doesn't, okay? You know, and it's like, well, because it's Joe fucking Biden at the helm. Do you trust Joe fucking Sleepy Joe? I don't even trust him to fucking change his own diapers, dog. But let's be real. The only president who fucking wore diapers was Donald fucking Trump. Let's be real. Anyway, back to this.
Shelters even allow trans women. Trans people are over 4 times more likely than cis people to be victims of violent crime.
It happens.
35 out of 50 states still do not prohibit the trans panic defense in court.
It
even
really
in
happens,
cases
folks.
of murder.
What's trans panic? Oh, you know, someone gets a little curious. They know it's a trans person. Okay. They take them back to their room and get a little hanky panky, and they feel really bad, and then they assault the person. I'm not gay! And they assault them. Look at these numbers. Okay? It's not an isolated incident, okay? Little Johnny is a little curious, and he doesn't like it because you put a bunch of fucking poison in his mind, telling him he's going to go straight to hell. Yeah, okay.
The majority of trans people have experienced intimate partner violence, and nearly half have been sexually assaulted. These combined obstacles and dangers contribute to a much higher suicide rate for trans people than average. There is so much data about the barriers that
Tucker
trans
Carlson,
people face that any
perpetually
claim that they do
perplexed.
not face significant challenges is absurd on its face. Conservatives pass anti-trans legislation and engage in anti-trans rhetoric, and at the same time tell people that anti-trans legislation and anti-trans rhetoric does not exist. It's important to note that not all transphobia comes exclusively from the right, but the reactionary movement against trans people is right-wing in ideology, regardless of the mere party registration or self-identification of those who...
I'm not the one who said Dave Chappelle's a TERF. Dave Chappelle said, I'm a TERF. In his special. Yeah, I watched it. It was pretty gross. I don't know what to tell you, Dave. Not a lot of funny jokes. You basically made a I have a trans friend excuse. Kind of stupid. Kind of stupid, dude.
Who inhabit it.
No, that's what I'm doing, man. At least an hour a day. Ms. Mac, I'm trying to do an hour a day. All right, because it's 11:55. You're on the cusp of losing it all. This country's going down, dude. I'm not even fucking. So come along as I weep for this fucking country that I love. To fucking charlatans like this pudding boy right here.
Now, take this one example and apply it to any disenfranchised group throughout history or in modern times, and the pattern becomes clear. The emancipatory movement brings attention to the problem. Conservatives claim that the problem either does not exist or has been exaggerated. The demands are described as special privileges instead of equality. And finally, conservatives engage in a reactionary movement guilt-free, because from this twisted perspective, they believe they are fighting for equality.
That's right.
This common refrain can be heard every time someone says, it's easier to be a minority in this country, or it's getting hard to be a straight white man. This is why conservatives want to believe that they are censored on social media, why they want to believe they are criticized for only having opinions. Because if oppression exists, and they themselves are not the oppressed people after all, then actual oppression could exist that would justify emancipatory movements. And conservatives just can't have that. Throughout the song and music video, Kid Rock takes care not to reference specific conservative causes. Instead, he uses conservative rhetoric and buzzwords to convey his message, thereby courting controversy to sell the song and express his politics without drawing attention from any particular group. Nevertheless, his undying support for Donald Trump and co-opting of right-wing memes and phrases makes his targets perfectly clear: every recent emancipatory movement of the past several years. His overuse of stale but infamous rhetoric and memes actually serves him well. Undoubtedly, those who agree with Kid Rock's vapid assertions may see any criticism of his video as evidence that he's right, that the left is too sensitive. Make no mistake here, Kid Rock made a purposefully inflammatory song in which his defensiveness borders on parody. When the targets of his shallow observations point this out, he will do what every other incurious ne'er-do-well does when his argument collapses. He will distill his political discourse into a game of "you mad?" and claim victory without the presence of a contest. His juvenile libretto about how everyone else is too emotional is...
And we see this happen in the chat almost every single stream. You know, conservative struts in, says something outrageously stupid, right? And declares victory, like, struts around and declares victory before he leaves. It's bizarre.
Is the language of reactionaries. Nobody is triggered by Kid Rock's outdated references to participation trophies, and nobody is fooled by his pretense of bringing people together amid his caterwauling divisiveness. Kid Rock wants his audience to believe that everyone else is angry but himself, even as he rap rocks a thinly veiled incitement of violence. Kid Rock, on the off chance that you ever watch this, I will tell you the same thing that I used to tell my students when they misbehaved. I'm not angry. I'm just disappointed.
J-Rock. J to the R to the O to the C.
I'm Kia Nurse, and welcome.
Okay, it's all about that J to the R to the O to the sizzle.
We're saving up some Skrilla right now to shoot a video, you know what I'm saying?
Know what I'm saying?
So we're gonna shoot on this little motherfucker right here.
This little motherfucker.
And there's a button that's talking about negative art, which creatively, know what I mean, is kind of a comment on where we're at, you know what I'm saying? Reversing the black and the white and who's black and who's white, and we're saying, you know what I'm saying, society, you know what's up, this shit don't even matter, you know what I'm saying, at the end of the day, right? Yeah. I'm J-Rock, you know what I'm saying? J to the ROC up in this.
Yes.
This here's my boy T, Tyrone.
Tyrone.
This here Mr. Green. And that Hydro in the back.
I got my N-word pass.
We doing alright. We'd be dope when the new NWA come out, you know what I'm saying? What's going on, Rockies? J-Rock? Damn, you stink. You should put some Old Spice and some Brewed up in that motherfucker. Because North America manning down Russian women, vice versa, and all that's kind of free trade and all that with porn, right? You know what I'm saying? So I'm directing this, and I wrote it. It's called From Russia with the Love Bone. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? I'm saying everybody walking the face of the earth.
He said this is where he gets busted for saying, know what I'm saying, too much.
The judge of J-Rock, you know what I'm saying? See what I'm saying? But I ain't shook, because motherfuckers try to take me out and stuff, but they can't, right? You know what I'm saying?
You're saying, know what I'm saying, too many times. 80 and 90 times? That's too many times. Once or twice is cool, but 80 and 90 times?
What are you from the Department of Know what I'm saying? You taking the known census? You counting my know what I'm saying? We're hanging out, right? It's all
8 or 9 times?
You see what I'm saying? Riding on my jock, you know what I'm saying? I'm just trying to have a good time, you know what I'm saying? You're counting my know what I'm saying.
That's too many times.
How am I supposed to be myself when you're counting my know what I'm saying all the time, you know what I'm saying?
That's revoked.
Saying what?
Know
what I'm saying?
1, 2, 1, 2. Is this shit on?
You know what I'm saying? What I have to say about attention? Hey, they haven't made their move, have they? Is there another Olympics going on? I think they're getting ready. I think they're just waiting for the optimal move. I'm really surprised though. That tells me that they know that Russia knows that there's not enough public support in the entirety of Ukraine, for a referendum to join Russia. But, they could also just be biding their time. Do more, it's more military intimidation while they're letting their, the people on the inside destabilize, because they have like pro-Russia parties. I'd say they could do it and we wouldn't do a damn thing about it. I'll tell you that. We wouldn't do a fucking thing about it. I can tell you that. That I can say with confidence. Right? So we just got a couple more things here. I got 5 more minutes before we're calling it a night. We're doing 1 hour. I'm just keeping them real tight. Keeping them real tight here. Hearst Tea, man. Love this underground shit. All right, so I'm gonna get back to what news and headlines. So I found this really interesting. The disturbing truth about Republican voters and the quote-unquote big lie. Let's turn this down just a touch for you. Of the 725 people arrested so far for the January 6th, I'll just go ahead and do this. The January 6th insurrection incited by Donald Trump, perhaps one of the most telling stories is one of the first persons sentenced, Anna Morgan Lloyd. This is really interesting. This should make your blood boil. On Facebook, Morgan Lloyd's attitude about participating in the violent attempt to overthrow democracy was jubilant, declaring it as the best day ever. Almost destroyed the country. Oh my God. But when she faced with the possibility of prison time, she masterfully escaped punishment by pretending to be reformed. Hey, fucking got him. Take that, liberals. Got him. After taking up all of the studying she did in jail about the importance of democracy and evils of fascism, she even claimed to have watched Schindler's List. Morgan Lloyd turned on the waterworks. Oh, I love our country. We got, I guess this is a tweet. I don't know. It's an ad. Morgan Lloyd continuing to cry. I would just like, okay, so this is her in court. I would just like to apologize to the court, the American people, and my family. Yada, 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 blah, blah. The act worked. Morgan Lloyd was let off with a slap on the wrist, getting probation with no prison time. Fucking got him. The judge seemed to sincerely believe her tale of being fooled into fascism and finding redemption through the magic of learning. That's great. This is where he was furious later to learn that Morgan Lloyd's gut-wrenching show of remorse was all nonsense. Indeed, it was only a day after she was handed her light sentence, one whole day, folks, that Morgan Lloyd was telling lies on Fox News, saying, "We see nobody damaging anything. It was a fucking walk in the park. The Antifa let us in, man. They had the keys." And the rioters were actually very polite. That's all that I saw was very polite people. In reality, the rioters did 1.5 million. Blah, 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 blah. You want to read the rest of it? Here you go. But I thought that part would boil your goddamn blood, son. It should. It should. Right? So, later in the article, you do learn that at least the judge learned his lesson there and like harshly sentenced all the other rioters he's having to deal with after that woman. So, and she was the first one. So I'm really glad that like she was the first one, right? And she immediately spoiled it for the rest of the people behind her because of course she did. Do you know the kind of people we are talking about? If you exist in the real world. Okay, if you get out and about, right? Some lefties don't, though. Some lefties, they're kind of in their own thing. They're like, I don't know who these crazy people are. All right, so we got one more, and this one's a video. This one should also make your goddamn blood boil. Should make it fucking just cream to the top, folks. I'm talking your blood should be, fucking dust. I mean, honestly, listen to this guy. Listen to this guy. One of the Proud Boys. Ooh, with a little pacifier in his mouth. Oh, because he looks like a little baby with a little head. Rub his head. Oh, it's got a little. Who put the beard on the baby? Oh, my God. This is adorable. Who put the beard on the baby? Anyway, if you want to just get incredibly pissed, go ahead and have a listen to this.
100 rioters have so far been charged.
I guess we'll do this on the YouTube then. Okay.
The Capitol nearly 1 year after the insurrection, while plenty continue to stand by their actions, insisting they did nothing wrong. CNN's Jessica Schneider now reports some are expressing remorse for being a part of the violent mob.
What?
It's like if you ask me if I do it again, I want to say yes, but then I question in the back of my head, would I?
Former Proud Boy Josh Pruitt.
I want to say yes. Got a 1776 shirt on. Remember Alex Jones during the riot? The spirit of 1776. We're getting our country back. Really? By destroying it?
Describes his past year as an emotional train wreck.
I don't feel like I did anything wrong, but knowing the consequences that came out of it would be the part that would make me question it.
Prosecutors have laid out an array of video as evidence against him.
Welcome back, Alt Default.
Pruitt can be seen
He's
confronting.
such a badass. He's so cute. Who gave the baby a little necklace and a shirt? Oh my God! He's got a little beard. Oh Jesus! He's trying to storm the Capitol. This is adorable. Get my camera.
Capitol police officers after walking in through the
He's
shattered
a big
front
boy.
doors. And
Look,
inside
see, Antifa let him in. I'm doing well, Alt Default. Doing really well. My blood boiling, screaming for vengeance for my country. Look, watch. Antifa
Capitol
lets him
police
in.
officers after walking
See it right there. See this little fucker right there? Antifa agent. Got him.
in through the shattered front doors. And inside the Capitol crypt, Pruitt is caught
Where'd he
smashing
come
a
from?
sign.
Woo! God, he's tough.
All of it
Hell
leading
yeah.
to 8 federal charges against him, including counts for destruction of government property and acts of physical violence.
What?
But Pruitt defends his actions that day, clinging to the big lie that former President Donald
He's
Trump
adorable.
continues to spread and saying he has no plans to plead guilty.
I was just a patriot out there, you know, protesting against what I think is a stolen election. Trying to send me to prison for a few years over
That's what he
I think
thinks,
is
folks.
a complete joke.
Are you concerned?
It's a complete joke. You should be hanging, dude. You committed treason, bro.
Trying to send me to prison for a few years over this, I think is a complete joke.
Are you concerned that you could be, in fact, sent to prison?
I am concerned.
Pruitt is among the more than 700 people now charged in connection with the Capitol attack. 70-plus defendants have been sentenced so far.
He's literally so stupid, I've fucking gone blind.
About 30 getting jail time.
The first week in January, I have to report to prison.
Jenna Ryan flew a private jet to Washington
Just
and
for a
notably
little
boasted that
treason?
storming the Capitol was one of the best days of her life. Her lack of remorse, in part, prompted a judge to impose a 60-day sentence after she pleaded guilty to a misdemeanor. The judge saying he wanted to make an example of her after she shamelessly tweeted that she wouldn't get jail time since she has blonde hair, white skin, and did nothing wrong.
All those 600 people.
You're unfortunately correct, Ms. Ormack. We're going to see in 2024 just how effective the neoliberal finger wagon has been. Oh, we gave you 6 months in jail. How'd that feel? Go, got him.
People that have been arrested are now wondering what's going to happen to them, and prison can happen.
Several of those sentenced are expressing remorse. Eric Rao got 45 days in jail after pleading guilty to just one count of disorderly.
Look at this guy. That is so... He's got a fucking walkie-talkie. That is clearly Antifa. Okay? Look at this guy. Walkie-talkie and sunglasses. They're everywhere. That's where they're supposed to speak, not by bashing. What are you talking about, Ponder? Maybe? Every single tour I've been on, I've directly assaulted police. Patriots, one and all.
Conduct. Federal Judge James Boasberg admonished Rao for trying to undermine the peaceful transfer of presidential power, what he called one of the country's bedrock acts.
Just a
Rao
quickie
struggled to
coup.
speak at sentencing, telling the judge, "There is no excuse for my actions on January 6th. I can't tell you how much this has just twisted my stomach every day since it happened." Another rioter, Robert Reeder, got 3
Ponder.
months in jail. During his sentencing, he pleaded with the judge, saying he
lost my
lost his
mind.
family, his job, and his place within his church community after January 6th. "I am embarrassed. I am in shame," Reeder said. "The hurt that I have caused to other people, not just to myself, has left a permanent stain on me, society, the country, and I don't want to be ever remembered for being part of that crowd." Josh Pruitt, though, still isn't willing to admit guilt or cooperate with prosecutors.
Who gave the baby a Punisher shirt?
Video of Pruitt pledging to become a member of the Proud Boys in November 2020.
Is he a proud little boy? Oh!
Went viral. Pruitt says prosecutors are asking him to help make the case against other Proud Boys facing conspiracy charges.
I want to
But he
destroy the
claims
country.
he no longer associates with the extremist
Guess
group.
who I voted for?
But
Hillary.
nor would I anyway. And I just when
I can't believe they put a beard on this baby and did a CNN interview. This is adorbs.
I'm saying doesn't fit their narrative because they would like me to come forward and say that it was planned. And I'm like, no, it wasn't.
I'm like, no. we bring gallows everywhere. You know what? Maybe you do.
Pruitt
Yeah, Punisher would fuck these guys up. Proud Boys versus the actual Punisher from the comic books. Sign me up. Sign my ass up.
expects his case to go to trial and says I'm such a badass, guys. Still stands by the big lie.
I do believe the ocean was stolen, for sure.
And do you still believe that?
I still believe it.
Yeah, I still believe it. Completely unfounded.
And Pruitt isn't the only one. I actually spoke with several accused rioters on the phone. All of them declined to talk on camera. They cited their ongoing cases or their desire to step back from the public glare. But the handful that I did speak to told me they still believe the election was stolen. Some even dispute that it was just pro-Trump supporters who stormed the Capitol building on January 6th. They've falsely told me that they say members of Antifa were involved. Now, meanwhile, Jake, the FBI is still trying to identify more than 350 people who they say...
Because they were? I know because I sent them. I am Antifa King. Ever heard of the Rat King? Yeah, I'm Antifa King. Antifa, I just feel it, and Antifa goes where I want it. I'm sending Antifa.
This is your home. This is your family room / gym. The guest bed.
Got him. Another right winger. Got him. All right, everybody. That's it. 1 hour and 1 hour, at least during the week. I worked. I got to go talk to my wife. Might have some problems with my mother. Life goes on, folks. It's a 3-step program to create political change. You've heard me say it before. I'll say it again. Step 1: get informed. Read. Watch videos. Step 2: find or create a progressive movement in your area. You better join it. Step 3: treat that shit like a job. That's why I'm doing this at least 1 hour a week. Treat that shit like a job. It's the end of America. This is it. I ain't playing. I ain't got fucking time to play, bitch. I got 0 time to fuck about. 100% always. Big props to Ponder, maybe. Channel 5 News. Channel 5 News. Dakota. No, I didn't. Not my merch. Go to Channel 5 News on YouTube. They're amazing. All right. Peace in that motherfucking Middle East. See you tomorrow.